Morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a great weekend. It's Monday morning here. We do our Monday morning training every Monday, 10 a.m. Central Time. I want to welcome everybody to the call. Today I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. This may go, I don't know, 30 minutes or so this morning. But I want to talk to you about, some of you have seen this in the past called the New World of Money, how to build a seven-figure income. And sometimes, when we get back to the basics, we really understand what we need to do to build this business. And it's easy to get off track, right? It's easy to keep tweaking and changing. And before you know it, we're off track. But anyhow, let me get right to it, okay? The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. You've heard that 100 times, probably 1,000 times, okay? Results versus winning. Now, this is Vince Lombardi. Running a football team is no different than running any other kind of organization, okay? Some of us do our jobs well and some will not, but we'll be judged on one thing, the result. Winning is not everything, but making the effort to win is. And a lot of times we say, well, I have a lot of potential things. Well, unfortunately, we don't get paid for potential, we get paid for results, right? So we always have to have a results-driven mindset. Now, of course, activity leads to that. So listen to this, to achieve success, whatever the job we have, we must pay a price. Success is like anything worthwhile. It has a price. You have to pay the price to win, and you have to pay the price to get the point where success is possible. Most important, you must pay the price to stay there. Now, we've talked about this in the past, and let me just kind of finish this. Once you agree upon the price you and your family must pay for success, it enables you to ignore the minor hurts, the opponent's pressure, and the temporary failures. Now, how does this work in our business? Well, our business is, you've heard me say this many times. You're going to pay the price one of two ways. You're going to pay the price working our business and dealing with what you deal with on a day-to-day basis where not everybody does what they say they're going to do. Things don't ever move as fast as you think they're going to move. But the other price we pay is working for somebody else for 40 years to retire on 40% of what we couldn't live on. So it's a 40-year sentence, right? And that is to have a job. So the bottom line is either way we pay a price. It's just which one is going to have more value on the other side of it. Well, if you can commit hard for 3, 4, or 5 years, build yourself a business, well, that's paying the price too, but that's a whole lot better than 40 years of saying no to everybody around you, including yourself, because you can't afford to do the things you want to do, right? Especially when it comes to freedom. So, in our business, we sell the dream, build a team. Your personal story, as I remember Coach Lindsey Byram saying all the time, nobody can debate your testimony. It's your story. They may not agree with it, but they can't debate it because it's your story. So you have to develop and share your personal story. Your personal story is, why are you in this business? It's not about living benefits. It's why you're in this business. That's your personal story that you need to share. Teach your teammates how to share their personal story. Everybody joins here for a reason, okay? Some people join, of course, they support it with the cause, which is living benefits and educating people. But the reason why is usually something like, I want to get my wife out of her job. I'm tired of working for somebody else. I don't make enough money. I want more for my kids. I want to send my kids to college. I want to take quality vacations. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a bigger house. I want nicer cars, right? I mean, the whys are endless and there's numerous amounts, but that's your personal story, right? I joined this business. Why? Many of you have heard me say this a million times. I'm not money motivated. I'm freedom motivated. I joined this business to have my time be my own and not have somebody tell me where I had to be, when I had to be there, and dictate my income as the carrot to getting me to go. I wanted to have control, right? So this way here, I had the freedom in my life. I tell that story countless amounts of time. You need to tell your story the same way. Now, the magic of compound dreaming. What does that actually mean? Dream a dream. Without a vision, the people perish. You've all heard that. Then dream another bigger dream. There are no lazy people, only people without impotent dreams. Okay, or with impotent dreams. In other words, Your dream has got to be big enough. Now, you could reach your dream by saying, hey, look, I want to match my income and be full-time in this business so that I can make the same money and not have to go to my job every day. Well, once you achieve that, now you've got to set another dream, right? Now, some people might call that a goal, but you've got to set, in other words, you've got to set the bar out there a little bit further now so you push harder because you want to get to the next level. The dream is the lifestyle. That's what we're all fighting for, right? Everybody listen to this call, everybody in FEG, frankly, everybody in this country would like to live the dream. And the dream is being able to get up, not have to worry about money, and be able to do the things they want to do. I think everybody wants that dream. The question is, are they willing to work for it to get it? Okay? So we talk about vision. I like to call it the magic of vision. What are you looking to build? You know, a large network of outlets, a large base of multi-product using clients. That's really what we want, right? Now, how do we do that is the question, right? So if we want to have a large network of outlets, then that's what we should be talking about. If we want to have a big business with a lot of people engaged, well, we need to be talking about the business and talking about the dream, right? The dream, everybody's got one. So it's just a matter of you hitting that hot button. So there's two main focal points we need to always get our arms around, and that is getting more and more personal direct legs. Why is that important? Well, many of you heard this is kind of an off subject kind of example here or an analogy, but it's kind of like tomato plant. If you like tomatoes and you have one plant and it's not producing enough tomatoes that well, what do? You can keep watering that same plant. You can pray on it. You can do all that good stuff. Or you can just put another tomato plant in, and then another one, and another one, and another one. And if you want to have a farm, if you want to supply the grocery store, well, then you're going to have a farm, and you're going to have multiple plants. Well, it's the same thing in our business, right? You want to have more and more personal direct legs. You can't build a leg if it hasn't started yet. So you got to start the leg. You got to recruit somebody. You got to go through the business, and we're going to get into that a little bit. And that's how you're going to produce the leg. You also want to get more and more people to BOPs. And I don't think it's just opportunity presentations. I think you want to get more people to the Zoom meetings we do every Thursday night. You want to get more people on the training we do here every Monday morning. You want to get more people in front of their computer watching some of the material that we have. We live in a technology era. Building keys, build outlets is the sound business philosophy, right? Use the system. Opening outlets is an all the time thing. Have quantity to get quality. Sometimes I talk to people and say, well, I'm looking for quality people. Well, we're all looking for quality people. What is definition of quality person? Now, obviously, if you meet somebody and you don't know who they are, I use the filtering process, right? The filtering process is we've got 3 steps to our system. If they say yes to all 3 and they allow us to coach them, to me, they qualify. Now, whether or not I may not know that on the front end, but the reality of it is I can't determine who the leader is and who isn't. All I can do is give everybody the same chance and give them the opportunity to show me that they want to be the leader, right? That comes from within. You know, the myth of training. And here, this is a big one. And I'm sure many of you have heard this several times. Weak builder's tendency. Hire him, train him. Strong builder's tendency. Hire him, build him a team. We've heard Ron Blumenkemper say this 1,000 times. When I bring somebody into business, my first immediate objective is to replace that person 3 or 4 times. What does that mean? Go out there and build a team for that person. So if I bring in Bill, my immediate objective is to go get Bill 3 or 4 direct people. Why is that? Because I want to show Bill how to build a business, how to build a team. Now, the safeguard is, well, what if Bill decides this isn't for him down the road for whatever reason? I have 3 or 4 other people that I've built a relationship with that now work directly with me. So in training, sometimes we think, well, I'll bring him in and I'll train him how to do proposals. I'll train him how to do presentation. That's not what you want to do. You want to help him build. We have to recognize the value of a new associate when they come in this business, okay? A lot of times people look at a new associate and they look at them at face value, meaning who they are versus what they bring to the table. Who they are is like, oh, this guy, he knows everybody. He's part of the Chamber of Commerce. He's this, he's that, he's the other. That's great, but that's not what we bring. What a new associate brings, because we don't know if that guy or gal is going to be a leader. What they bring is the people they know. And unless they're introducing you to the people they know, none of the rest happens. Now, down the road, 60 days, 90 days, as that person gets more ingrained in our business, they may become one of your future leaders. But it is impossible for you to know that up front. All you know is, let me see your list. Let's approach your marketplace. Here's how we're going to do it. So the associate brings to you their market. That is the most important asset. So if you could somehow program your mind to look at a blank face and just look at their list and not get caught up in who they know, what they bring to the table, how great they could be, and just look at who are they taking me to, your business will grow much faster. Okay, you've got to build it 3 times. In fact, Bloom said this on a call a week ago. You got to build it in your mind. So you got to think about what you want to do. Then you got to build it on paper, and then you got to build it. Now, there's a big difference between that. And let me give you an example. Do you ever have a time where you said, oh, I got to call this guy Monday at 10 o'clock? And you say it out loud maybe, and it's in your mind, but you don't write it down. You can forget. Oh, man, I forgot to call that guy. But how many times do you forget when you write it down? I can only speak to you from personal experience. When I put it in my calendar, I don't even have to look at the calendar. I remember I put it in the calendar. So I know I have a call at 10 o'clock. You understand what I'm saying? But if I don't put it in the calendar, I could possibly forget. So there's real value in build it in your mind, build it on paper, and then build it. How does that relate to new people? Build it in your mind. Oh, I know lots of people. That's in their mind. Build it on paper. List them. Write them down on a list. Write their name. Write their phone number. Now, let's go build it. Same philosophy, right? You can do it. You want to build a house, right? In your mind, you say, well, I want this, this, that, and the other. Then you build it on paper. It's called a blueprint, right? You have somebody build it on paper. And then what? You build it. Same thing. It relates to everything, okay? Be a master developer / developer. We've all known that there are people, there are carpenters, there are builders, there are developers, and then there are builders of builders, right? So the carpenter's got the tool belt, he's out there and he's doing what he can or she can to make a living. Then there are builders, they're general contractors, they hire people and they go in and build houses, typically for developers. And then there are developers who see a piece of land and see a 50-acre parcel and say, wow, I know what I can do with this. I can have a lake over here, a pond over here. I can have this, I can have that. I can build X amount of houses. That's the developer. See, that's the builder. Now, then you have people who build those type of people. Same thing in our business, right? Are you a carpenter going out there making a presentation to make a sale? Are you a builder where you've recruited a handful of people and you're building a business? Or are you a developer where you're building builders? You're looking for people to become those builders around the country, okay? Writer Henry David Thoreau wrote, you must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find your eternity in each moment. Fools stand on their island of opportunities and look toward another land. There is no other land. There is no life but this now, right? So where are we? Here you are right now. You got to work from here. You got to look at where you are right now. You've got to get rid of the rear view mirror in your mind and stop looking back. And you got to look forward and say, okay, here's where I am right now. Where do I want to go? Okay. The magic of compound building. You know, again, none of this stuff is super new, but sometimes it gets lost in the translation, right? What is the value of the power of one and the power of one more, right? So when we talk about a recruiter's mentality, it's an all the time thing. It's a state of mind, right? You look for quantity and you get quality. Remember, every person is a recruit until proven different. You don't know who's going to become the future leaders in this business. All you know is, can they follow a simple plan? Will they allow us to coach them? And then we again determine if in fact they have what it takes to become a leader in this business, right? The tendency of most weak builders is to recruit them and train them. I said this earlier. The builder's mindset says recruit and help them build their teams. You've heard Bloom talk about block building. You saw him, in many, many meetings, put up 4 circles, 4 wide, 4 deep. And he said, when I fill that all out, I make whatever, $50,000. Well, you've seen people do this here, right? So you get a new person. What do you want to do? You immediately want to focus on getting 3 people for them, right? What do you want to do with those 3 people? Help them do the same thing. So it's not rocket science here, what we do, okay? It's very, very simple. Don't get bored with the simplicity of what we do. And frankly, don't complicate it because it's going to make your life more difficult, okay? We're in the people building business. You must see yourself as a leader of thousands running a system with 2 main objectives: build a large network of outlets and build to max out profits. You go wide, you go deep, you go wide and deep, right? That's always the analogy. Which way do I go? Do I go wide? Do I go deep? Well, you can't go deep in a leg that hasn't been built yet, right? So you can't go deep if you haven't recruited somebody. So the first thing to do is to go wide. What's the number? I don't know. Until you find 3 or 4 people that have a 6-figure mindset. That might take 10 people, that may take 20 people, maybe it takes 50 people. I don't know. Everybody's different. It all depends who you come across, right? The reality of it is, does it really make a difference? You know, it's kind of like a deck of cards, right? And there's 52 cards in a deck of cards, and there are 4 aces. Well, you don't know where they are. They could be in the first 10 cards. They could be every 10 cards. They could be in the last 4 cards, right? You don't know where the aces are, but you know they're there, and you're just going to get through the 52 cards until you get to the 4 aces. Well, that's a good analogy for our business, right? I don't know who it is. Maybe it's going to take 50 people to find 4. Well, I don't know, but let's focus on that. Let's say, well, I'm going to go out there and recruit 50 people the right way through the system, and I'm sure I'll identify 4 or 5 there, okay? You probably identify more. Again, build it 3 times. Build it in your mind, build it on paper, go build it, right? So if you can see what you want to have, you know, if I interviewed each one of you individually, what do you want to have in your business? What does it look like in your mind? Okay, now let's put that on paper, and now let's go attack it. Let's go make it happen, right? So taprooting is what you hear Bloom talk about all the time, right? I'd get somebody and I'd immediately replace them. Well, what is he really saying, okay? There's 3 laws of recruiting. Number 1, a recruit isn't a recruit until he or she has a recruit. So a new person by themselves is not as strong until they have somebody. Why? Because now they have a business. That person could be a Dave Regis. That could be Ron Blumenkemper. That could be a Mike Rodriguez. That could be a Ramsey Sarkis, right? You don't know. So therefore, they tend to be more engaged because they have a person on their team, right? A leg is not a leg until it is at least 4 deep. I don't know why that is. I don't know who created that rule. But if you look at your business, some of you have built big organizations in the past and even now, you'll notice that sometimes it's not the first person you bring in, but if you go down 4 people, there's a gem right there. You know, I think about how I got recruited years ago into the business. I was 4 deep to the senior national sales director, and I became, I had some success in that company, okay? 3, a team will have a life of its own once you develop at least 2 levels of leaders. Now, what does that mean? Well, of course, you're a leader. Then you have your frontline people. And let's say you have 3 or 4 frontline leaders, and then you have leaders under them. Now you have a solid organization, okay? Because anything can happen if you just have 1 level. You want to have more than 1 level of leadership. It takes at least 2 to really develop here. So here's the power of 1, okay? And You've seen, again, you've seen Bloom do this in different ways, but the reality of it is, what's the best way for you to be in a hot market all the time, right? We have 3 markets, right? We have a cold market, your close ratio is somewhere around 20%. We have a warm market, your close ratio is 50%. You have a hot market, that's 80%. How do we differentiate? Which one is the market? Cold market, obviously, you know what that is. Warm market is referrals. That's referrals of either clients or associates where you call up and you have a referred call there, okay? Hey, you don't know me, but John Doe asked me to call you. That's a referral. Then there's a hot market. Hot market is John Doe makes the call, introduces you, brings you to see his friend. That's the hot market. So if you want to fill up your calendar every day, every weekend, what's the best way to do that? In a hot market, right? So here you recruit A. A takes you to see a few people and you recruit B. Now A can keep you busy on Monday, B can keep you busy on Tuesday. When you're working with B, you're going to find C, right? So if everybody just found one, look at what happens in the course of 6 days. You have 6 people that can take you to 2 or 3 or 4 places in one day, right? One night or whatever. And you can build your business in a hot market. And in a hot market, your closing ratios are going to be more like 80%. You're going to bring on 25 to 30% of those people, and you're going to sell 80% of them just by virtue of showing them what we do, because there's credibility there. See, the new person brings the credibility. They trust that person. They trust you to know what you're doing, right? That dynamic works, and it works all the time. So we talk about the power of one. All it takes is one person to really get your business going. If you have a builder's mindset, if your focus with a new person is to get in their market and help them bring people into their business, okay? Be always helping a new person get just one. I kind of just said this, right? I got ahead of myself. At every level, you always position yourself for at least 4 more sales, and you have the potential for a fireball leader to pop up. There's no question about it. If I get Bill and Bill leads me to Mary, Mary leads me to Joan, Joan leads me to Mike, well, there's a very good chance in those 4 people, I'm going to find one that really wants to blow this thing up. It's just the way it is. I don't know why. It's just how it works, okay? So I don't question the why or the theory. I just follow it because it works, okay? Recruiting bunches. Now, there's a big difference bringing on one new person a month for 12 months or 12 people all in 1 month. See, when building, how can you tell who will make it in the business? The reality of it is you can't. The people who are serious about winning and those who just give it lip service, they all look the same, okay? That's why you should look for a bunch of people. This is just, there is no way to accurately judge a person. No test has ever been devised that can measure the heart of a person. So what happens if you put 10 people in all at the same time? There's a dynamic of competition that happens. There's always going to be 2, maybe 3 people out of that 10 that really pop their head up, that say, hey, I want to win. And they display that, and they set an example for the other 7 or 8 people in the room. So what's the value of bunches? You have that dynamics that happen. What happens if you just have one? What are they compared to? There's nobody to compete against. Now you have to determine if they're the right person or not. But if you have 10, the 2 or 3 that really want to win identify themselves. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is be there. You can see it. You can hear it. You can see it by their actions. You can hear it in their voice. They show up to everything. That's the value of recruiting in bunches, okay? As the Marines would say, recruit them all and let God sort them out, right? Well, when you join the Marines, now I've never done that, so I don't know specifically, but you got to pass a physical. You got to, I'm sure, answer some questions. I'm sure they want to know why you want to do it and all that there. And from that point on, you're in. Okay? Now, you may last 1 day in boot camp and quit. Well, they don't know that. All they do know is that you made a commitment, you passed their physical, so to speak, and they put you through. Well, it's the same thing here. Okay? Law of averages. The only way to overcome the negatives of the law of averages is to harness the power of the law of high numbers, okay? See, you can't get an average when you have one person. But if you bring in 10 or 50 or 100 into your business, now you're harnessing the power of high numbers, and the law of averages says there's a certain percentage of them that are going to be successful. Again, who are they? We don't really know that, right? All we can do is bring them in, let them identify themselves. So we talk about that. And frankly, we don't talk about this enough. We get hung up. You know, somebody brings in a new oh, I got this new person, and they're going to be so great. They know so many people, and now they stop working the numbers and they focus on that individual instead of saying wonderful, and they go get somebody else, and then they go get somebody else, and then they go get somebody else, and they don't get hung up on that person. They keep, I'm not saying we don't do the right things with those new people, but we don't say, okay, I found my leader. I found the person that's going to take me to the promised land. Never to understand, folks, when you depend on one person in your business, you no longer are in control. They are. Okay? So if you think that one person is going to change your business life, then you have now relegated control of your business to that one person. Don't ever do that. Focus on having you be the control of your business. You keep bringing in people so you are the value in your business, not any one individual. Until you develop leaders, that's how you have to think, okay? Ordinary people, extraordinary life. We got lots of stories in this company. You don't have to personally sponsor many to have teams in the thousands, okay? But you do have to have a builder's mindset, otherwise you'll never find them. You do have to find a few that will do the same thing. And you do have to get folks plugged in. So what do you have to do? You have to have the right mindset to say, I want to build a big business. Then you have to find a few, not thousands, a few that have the same mindset. And then you have to plug them in. You know, like we have Vegas coming up here this week, right? We're into this week. Well, how important is it for somebody to go to Vegas and get their mind expanded by so many different leaders in the company? It's priceless. There's no way we can put a price tag on that, okay? But you got to keep people plugged in, okay? Who's serious? Where do you spend your time? Just so I brought this guy in, okay? Is he eager to learn? Is he on the phone with you? Does he take your calls? Does he make excuses? Does he ask for help? Is he excited about the business? Can they make a commitment and actually show up? Yeah, I'll be there Saturday and show up. Do they own the products and believe in what we do? Do they have goals? Do they have a list? Are they fun to be with? Are they positive? Okay? That's, you spend time with those people. So what if you have somebody who says, well, you know, I don't really want to go to the people I know. Can't we just run an ad in the newspaper? Well, do you want to spend a whole lot of time with that person working in the coal market? They clearly don't believe in what we do. Right, we all know we don't want to work with anybody who doesn't believe in our products and doesn't own them for their own lives, assuming they qualify, right? If they're not positive, do you want to be around somebody that's negative, right? I mean, unfortunately, that's good. So this helps you identify who is the right person for the business, right? You know, there's three things to move through. You know, you can see on the right here, never quit working on your dream. Never stop. Dreams change. They get bigger, hopefully, right? You want to expose, involve, and upgrade. You want to expose your dream to other people. You want to involve them in your dream. See, if your dream is big enough, it includes a lot of people, okay? So if your dream is to have one person in your business and work at this part-time together, well, that's not a very big dream, right? So that's not going to include a lot of people. But if you say, look, I'm looking for hundreds of people, now you may not say that in an initial presentation, but if your mindset is that you want a huge business and you're nowhere near done, well, people say, well, wow, that can include me. I can remember the day when Bloom called me. I can remember the words that come out of his mouth. I mean, the first 2 years was product, product, product. Then one day I heard him say, I want to build a company coast to coast. Will you help me? Whoa, that expanded my vision. I heard, wow, lots and lots of people. So yes, that involved me Okay, and that got me excited about it. And now, of course, I've upgraded my vision or dream since then. Okay, so let's talk about the power of one more. Okay, this is just simple math here. Okay, if you look at what happens if two get two, now you got four, right? Four get two, now you got eight. Eight get two, now you got 16. 16 get two, you got 32. What if we just add one more? It goes from 32 to 243 if everybody just got three instead of just got two. Now, again, I know this is simple, and you say, yeah, I get it out. I've done these. I've seen this a million times. But the reality of it is, do you really believe it? Do you believe that the difference between just everybody focused on one more, or the power of three, if you will, if everybody got three, this is what could happen in a very short period of time. If that's what everybody was focused on, if they're focused on getting three, we know the sales will take care of itself. Promotions will take care of itself. But if everybody's focused on just getting three people, how long do you want that to take? Do you want to do it in a day? Do you want it to take you a year? What do you want to do? See, your business can move really fast if that's what you're thinking about, okay? Look at the difference between one more. 1681, 256, the power of 4 get 4 versus 2 get 2. Just 4 levels. Actually, just 3 levels. Pretty powerful, okay? Now, this slide I love. Marketing versus sales. What's a sales team? They hire 10 people to sell 10 policies a month. You make 100 sales, right? If one person gets sick, one person moves on, you lose 10% of your business. However, what if you build a marketing team? What if you had 100 people just helping one family a month, making one sale a month? They're making an extra, whatever, $1,000, $1,200 a month, but you're still doing 100 sales. You're building outlets and distributions. 100 people just doing one versus 10 people doing 10. See, a person may not always do 10, but everybody can do one. One's not a whole lot. We're talking about, even if that were in a whole month. If you had 100 people who help one family in a month, that's 100 sales a month in your business. You got 100 part-timers that are very excited, making an extra $12,000, $15,000 a year part-time, and you did 100 sales in your business. That's a great business, okay? Share versus sell. What do we really do in our business? Do we actually sell? Now, people will call this sales, right? We're in the sales business. We sell insurance products, but in reality, aren't we sharing a concept? Most people already have life insurance. 149 million people in this country already own it. All we're doing is saying, look, you know about living benefits. This is what you got. This is what you could have. We're really sharing with them information that they probably have not been exposed to. Now, statistically, 97% of them haven't been exposed to it. So why are we looking at this as selling versus looking at this as sharing, right? Internal consumption, as we know, is a fairly large part of what we do. As we bring people on board, they become clients. But it's not just our associates. We have many customers or clients that are not associates, okay? And of course, internal consumption is part of the training process. There is no better way to train you on living benefits than for you to get your own policy with your trainer, because you're going to ask every question known to man. You're going to want to understand that inside and out because it pertains to your family. So that's a real simple, that's one of the best trainings you'll ever get on product. You know, we don't see as many of these anymore. They look different today, okay? They're fancier. They do everything but drink it for you. But if you think about Coca-Cola, which obviously has been around since dirt, I guess, Coca-Cola, imagine if they had one place in the middle of the country that they sold all the Coca-Cola from. Well, it would never work. But what they did is they had distribution. They put Coke machines all around the country. At a gas station, maybe some of them sell 2, another place they sell 5. But the bottom line is they had Coke machines all around the country, and they sold massive amounts of Coca-Cola because they had distribution. And they did that in the form of a Coke machine. Well, in our business, distribution can be determined by the number of people we have in our business, right? Some of them become leaders and they build their own distribution. Some of them may just be there to distribute product, right? But I think you get the concept about building distribution. See, you have to have a mindset to build distribution. It doesn't just happen. People aren't going to call you and say, hey, I want to join your business and help you get to 100 people a month. It doesn't work that way, right? Your mindset has to be focused around distribution, and you will attract people that want to make more money because your dream is big enough to include them. So you have to have the mindset first, okay? I want to touch on just real quickly here the value of build it, sell it, share it. Now, a lot of people don't understand this concept, okay? Most times when you see companies sold, a whole bunch of things change. If you've ever had a mortgage, okay, sometimes those mortgages are sold. In fact, they're sold quite often. And the only thing that really changes is the name of the bank on your statement. You still have the same payment. Everything's still the same. You still own the house. Everything's the same. The only thing that changes is the name of who holds it. So think about build it, sell it, share it this way, okay? Everything stays the same, except we may have a new name, right? Possibly. On the other hand, it may be the same. But it's a very, very good thing for the company to say, if and when, it's more when than if, we do that, what's the value to you? What if we do it? What does it mean for you? Well, let's say, 100 million. Hypothetically, the company sells for 200 million. So 100 million is distributed to everybody who earned equity share. Well, what if 1 million points could equal $1 million? And again, I'm just being hypothetical here. Can you imagine having a business that you've been building, you get a payday of $1 million, and you still own your business, and maybe it says Freedom Equity Partnership, hypothetically. Everything the same product, same concept, same everything, but you got a big payday. Pretty exciting to have, right? What if you had 5 million points, and that could be worth 5 million. 10 million could be worth 10 million. I think you get it. And you still have your business. That's the key thing, okay? So how do we do it is the real question. How do we do it? And hopefully today I've laid out for you the type of mindset you need to have to be successful in this business, because it's easy to get sidetracked. A couple of things just to reemphasize. You've got to build it 3 times. In your mind, what do you see? What's your vision? What's your dream? Okay? It's important that you identify what that is. If you said, Al, look, I want to have an office. I want 5 part-time people. Well, what's your mindset? Whatever it is what you're going to do. Okay? So you've got to have the mind. So you've got to see it here first. Then you got to put it on paper, and then you got to attack it. You're going to find that it's not going to take as much effort to build it as you think. Okay? The problem is you don't know what you want to build yet if you haven't determined that, if you haven't extracted it from your mind onto paper so that it becomes real. Okay? We can use technology to expedite, but we need to get in front of people. Okay? And our business is, we can call it high tech, high touch. Doesn't matter how you do it. I think a combination of that has to happen. I think you can use videos, you can use technology, you can use a Zoom meeting like we're doing now, but you at times have to gather people together. Las Vegas, Super Saturdays, Fast Start Schools, whatever you want to call them, CEO Builder events. You have to gather people together where people can press flesh, break bread, and really get to know each other and build relationships. But in between that, you can utilize technology, okay? Now, we can do this a lot of different ways. There's weekly meetings that go on, right? Who's running the meetings? Lunch and learns at the office. If you have an office, you can do lunch and learns, or you can go out in the field and meet people that way too, right? Super Saturdays. Bring your team together. We do that in League City typically once a month on a Saturday. We bring everybody in and just kind of have a little training, right? Recognition, all that kind of good stuff that's part of building a business. So in between those months, we don't need to have meetings every day. We need to have meetings with other people sharing this message every day, okay? Super Saturdays, Now, I'm pretty confident. I'm not looking at who's on this call right now, but I'm sure everybody on this call is going to be in Vegas. And that's good because you really, it's hard to impress upon you the value of what these meetings can do to expand your vision. It's impossible for it to happen in your small little world. If you're working out of your home, well, you can't expand your vision, right? So you might say, well, geez, Al, how do I expand my dream to include a whole lot more people? Well, when you go to a meeting like Vegas, it kind of does it for you, right? You meet a bunch of people, you see people walk across the stage and say, well, I kind of look like him. I could do that. He doesn't look any better than me. She looks the same as me. And you start to feel more confident in yourself because let's face it, folks, the number one thing that people feel about themselves is they're not good enough to be successful. And we have to change the way we think, right? And the way we do that is by putting ourselves in a position to experience and meet different people where we realize that people aren't special. They just worked at it. They just made a commitment, stayed focused to it, and made it happen, okay? Well, Semi, I just kind of talked about that. When we talk about Vegas, again, I can't impress upon you the value of those events, but anything can be an event. You never know what you're going to hear, but if you're not there, you can't hear it. I think about some of our, we're doing some meetings in Houston right now, once a month on a Tuesday night. Those meetings have been great, and you never know what you're going to hear. And it may not be the presentation. It may just be somebody you meet in that meeting, okay? Or somebody says something in that meeting, or you're having a cup of coffee with somebody, and they say something that sparks some real interest in you, okay? So what it all comes down to is, in my humble opinion, is leadership and mentoring. And everything we talked about here is helping you develop the mindset that's a leadership skill, right? We talk about leadership. What does that mean? Leadership doesn't mean that you automatically have a team of 100 people. Leadership starts with you individually. You need to have leadership in yourself, right? I mean, everybody has it, and then it gets developed over time, and it gets expanded, and it gets stronger, if you will. But we all have some type of leadership. So who do you lead first? You got to lead yourself first. That's the first person you have to lead. Then it's fellowship. What does that mean? Well, there are probably a lot of people that can speak to this better than I can, but what I look at it as is it's not enough just to lead people. We don't lead people with an iron fist in our business. We lead people by inspiration. And when you look at fellowship, it's really getting to know people. We can call it building a relationship, but it's getting to know people where they realize they can come to you and they can talk to you. And I'm not talking about Dear Abby kind of talk to them. I'm talking about they know they can come to you because they can trust with you their feelings of, well, I want to call this guy, but I'm not super comfortable. Okay, well, here's what you said. See, when those barriers, those walls break down and people get open and honest with you, that's when you can really help them. That's when people become incredibly coachable, is when they become, as Ramsey would say, vulnerable, right? It's vulnerable to be coachable because you got to let your guard down, okay? And then, of course, mentorship. Mentoring is what it's all about. Everybody looks for a mentor, people that they want to emulate. It's good to have somebody in your life that you can look at as your mentor. It doesn't necessarily have to be your upline. It could just be a person that, you feel that they have all the qualities and they can help you from a mindset. See, to me, business is business is business. You've got to have the right mindset to be successful in any business you do. We're choosing to do it with Freedom Equity Group, but the same principles apply, okay? So you can learn from people that have had success, that have paid the price. Everybody's paid the price. I don't care, very, very few people have had mega success in this world because they inherited it. Now, of course, some have, but most have paid the price. Most started with very humble beginnings. Most did not have anything other than their belief that what they had, everybody needed to hear about, and they just kept shouting it from the mountaintops until enough people did, and they built distribution. No different for anybody else, right? this is, in my opinion, what it takes. This is a snapshot, I believe, of the kind of leadership you need to have in this business. We're fortunate to be in a company that teaches this all the time, that provides it all the time, that gives us many opportunities to get in front of this information and be in front of people that provide that type of leadership. So I hope that helped you today. I actually went a little bit longer than I thought I would, but hopefully this was good for you today. And this has been recorded. We'll put this up in the back office, but I want to encourage you to get back to the basics. I want to encourage you to remember what Freedom Equity Group is built on. It's not about living benefits. That's what we do. Why we do it is to literally have an opportunity to change people's lives. So I wish you all the best, and I'll see you all in Vegas. Have a great day, everybody.